Controlled growth.
Building that cash, the deals come along.
And having that safety net means the world.
Another thing that I think is incredibly important is
welcome to our series, Real Community Banking. I'm Tyler. Maggi was the Springfield Market President here at Table Rock Community Bank for a little over 2 years. I'm happy to announce that we are holding those reins right over to Josh Sapp joining us.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, super excited to have Josh. Josh brings a lot of expertise to the area and lending area too, so we're super excited to have him.
And with that move, they have named Tyler Chief Lending Officer. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. I think with these changes comes growth, and we've been super fortunate, got a great shareholder base, good customer base. The growth that's happening here is going to be exponential.
Excited to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Today, we're talking about banking wisdom over banking knowledge and the difference of the two.
We've got some knowledge now.
I guess 36 years combined.
Yeah. I would say one thing that I'm passionate about within that is giving people a quick answer. That's probably the best thing, because they can move on with their decision making too.
Yeah, well,
and it might not be the answer they want, but again, it turns into, hey, at least I got an answer out of them. Like, I want to move on and we can get a deal done maybe down the road.
Local decision making where you can pick up the phone and have an answer in 45 minutes, and not a no necessarily, but guidance on how we could eventually come to a yes.
Exactly.
But big difference between knowledge and just, everyone can run a spreadsheet. It's simple math.
Yep.
But I think having the experience of the different project types, areas, and then having a bank that understands where you're at, where Springfield is and what Springfield's about, and having that local knowledge and understanding of the local market, I think is so important, which you only get at your community bank.
Yeah. And it comes through looking at deals and looking at what's coming down the pike and what's looking at what the community needs, like you said. So it comes with doing it time and time and time again. So.
Yes. Here's the truth that businesses need to hear, but do not want to hear.
Controlled growth. I feel like you get more looks in the wrong way because people want to grow their business. They're passionate about it.
They even have an award for it, right?
That's right.
In town.
That's right. But controlled growth is very important to help the healthiness of a business.
Build that balance sheet.
Looking at the balance sheet, looking at the income, what receivables turn times look like actually learning. A lot of businesses will learn more about what they're going through when they take the time to slow down and actually dive in and look.
And leverage is a great thing, but leverage can also be obviously very dangerous. And so controlled growth gives you a little bit more time to understand your business and grow responsibly.
Yeah.
I like that.
And look at margins as well. So
another thing that I think is incredibly important is sitting on some cash. Most of the businesses that we deal with, they want to always put that cash to use, and I totally get it.
Yeah.
It kind of goes hand in hand with controlled growth.
For sure.
But having that safety net there with cash allows you to hit some of the economic swings. I know we're incredibly lucky being located here in the Ozarks, where we've been stable when we've seen the coasts are way more volatile. But I think sitting on that cash, and it seems as if when you're building that cash, the deals come along, and so it's always a good thing to be safe and set on it.
And like you said too, we do feel insulated here in this area. I feel like a little bit, but at the same token, we've seen what things can do when they go sideways.
Absolutely.
And having that safety net means the world to a lot of people. So
I was an analyst in 08, and I can tell you, 05, 06, 07, 08. And, a lot of people that were sitting on cash got some nice deals.
Yep, for sure. There's a lot of net worth driven from that.
Yeah, for sure.
What is the best way a banker could help a customer, let's say, that most people don't know?
Lots of answers for that. And I think the customers that know. But there's a huge difference between a good bank and a not so good bank. And I think it's just the ease of operating. So when you are with, and you may not even know it, but if you're with a bank that's taking forever on a loan decision, I think the anxiety and the level of attention that you have to give to your project or your business, instead of it just being taken care of, instead of it operating smoothly, I think, is probably pretty cost prohibitive, and you don't maybe even realize the toll that is taken, from an emotional standpoint or the loss of a deal. So I think really just being available, being quick to market, and getting a straight answer very quickly. You probably don't know if you're with a bad banker, but once you get with a good one, I think you know.
Yeah. And I think one thing should be, you should want to go to the bank and talk to your banker. I mean, there's so many times you hear the horror stories of like, oh, I dread going into the bank. I don't want to go to the bank. It's like, I feel like the relationships that we create and do, like 100%. The customers, they become friends. And honestly, it makes those conversations a lot easier too of, hey, here's what we want to do. Okay, well, here's what we can do. Here's a way to structure it. Like giving them an answer and helping them guide them through that. But having more than just a banking relationship with your customers is great.
No, more than transactional.
Correct.
Absolutely. Yep. Last question. How does having local experience give you the edge when you're helping a customer?
Man, that's a good one. It's easy in community banking just because we know the areas of where we're banking at. Looking at a project in a certain area, we would know this is really happening over there. There's a lot of growth, a lot of manufacturing jobs coming in, where the jobs are being created. Like having that knowledge of the area helps a ton.
Totally agree. My answer is very similar too. And, having the local knowledge, the experience through all of the years, knowing what works, what doesn't in our local markets.
And when you lose the local decision making, like you said, they don't know where National and Battlefield is and how good of a location that could be. And so, makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely.
Thanks for taking the time to watch me and Josh make a fool of ourselves. I feel like sometimes we're trying to bring the community back into banking and have a good time doing it too. We're excited to have you. And like I said, it'll be exciting to see what the future holds.